Hey there, internets. It's Paul with the magic word.
And Diego.
And today we're going to talk about the red-white Commander 15.
Hey, that was like the first thing spoiled.
Yeah, so we're going to get right to it because we've already talked about Kalemne. We'll talk about her again. Disciple of Iroas, she costs 2, a red and a white, for a 3/3 giant soldier.
Ooh.
But she also has double strike and vigilance.
Ooh, that vigilance.
But when you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, you get an experience counter.
Ooh.
But when she exists, she gets 1/1 for each experience counter you have. So she can get pretty big pretty quickly.
And that's a reason to exist, to get that big.
Yeah, so as we're going to find out for the rest of the cards in this deck, there's a lot that cost 5 converted or greater.
Right, and then when we first showed her, not everything was spoilered. So now we got more stuff that's coming with that deck. This next new card, when I saw this come out, that's amazing. Magus of the Wheel. Costs 1 red and 2 for a human wizard, that's 3/3. 1 red and 1 for its ability, tap it and sacrifice Magus of the Wheel. Each player discards his or her hand and draws 7 cards. What is that a Magus of? That sounds familiar. Oh, it must have been Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
If those of you who don't know, you're probably too young, but that's okay.
That's a callback to the Magus cycle from Time Spiral.
Yes, bit of a throwback on that one. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, there was Maguses in the Time
There
Spiral.
are Maguses in all 3 of the sets,
Planet,
right?
Yeah, Time Spiral, Planet Chaos, and Future Sight. Exactly. They're all based off cards. So that's one to throw into that. That's pretty cool. I kind of like that card. The Sandstone Oracle. Costing 7 for a 4/4 flyer for an artifact Sphinx. When Sandstone Oracle enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. If that player has more cards in his hand than you, draw cards equal to the difference. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Reminds me of, is it Damia? Yeah, it kind of has the same thing, where it says draw to the difference. Yeah, that little bit of effect, but it's come into play effect. So that's kind of cool.
So this is good for a red and white deck that wants to play all its threat early, get the pressure on the opponent. You're going to just want to play out your hand as much as possible, whether they wrath you to get you off the board or they don't and you've just applied more pressure, but you just need a couple more cards to make sure you finish them off. You play this Sphinx, you get to draw more cards, and you get there.
Right, you fill up your hand again, which is pretty good. That's something you want to do with red and white because doesn't come often. Thot Vessel, a 2-drop artifact. You have no maximum hand size. Tap to add 1 colorless. Okay.
So this is like Mind Stone, but instead of being able to sacrifice it and draw a card, you just get a maximum hand size of infinity.
And you untap for 1 colorless mana.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
So
I like it already.
Yeah, so this is useful for decks where they want to get their commander out on turn 3, so they need to use artifacts acceleration that costs 2, not 3.
Right, and red and white does need some mana rocks, so what's not to like about that? Then we get to the second legendary that's from the set.
Anya, the Merciless Angel. She costs 3, a red and a white, and she's an angel 4/4 flyer. She gets 3/3 for each opponent whose life is half or less than their starting life total, and as long as an opponent's starting life total, or their life total is less than half of their starting, she's indestructible. So it seems kind of straightforward and kind of boring.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed after reading it a couple times is she gets 3/3 for each opponent. So if you're playing a multiplayer game, it does benefit you to beat everyone down evenly. Because if you have 2 people who are at 20 or less, she's going to be a 10-10.
Well, Paul, it's like it says in its name. It really is merciless.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains it already. Going on to the next card, artifact, 2-drop. It's a Blade of the Selves? Yes. Equipment. Ooh. Equipped creature has...
Myriad.
There you go, sorry. Whenever it attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may put a token that's a copy of of that creature onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker he or she controls. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. And it's 4 to equip.
Yeah.
Whoa, Myriad.
So Myriad is the ability that's unique to Commander 15.
Yeah.
And it's on a couple different cards. But this one is cool because you can put it on any creature. You can make a myriad of any of the cards that you already have in your deck.
Right, nothing to splash. Nothing like splashing an artifact that does things like that, because there's creatures out there that probably would benefit off that, attacking all the other opponents. I think you were talking about that, was it Omnivore thing?
Yeah, the very first card I thought of when I saw the Blade of Self-Spoiled was I thought of Hydra Omnivore.
Hydra Omnivore, that's pretty vicious. We get to our next card, Dawnbreaker Reclaimer. 2 white and 4 for a 5/5 angel with flying. At the beginning of your end step, choose a creature card in an opponent's graveyard. Then that player chooses a creature card in your graveyard. You may return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's controls. Well, obviously you have to target their stuff first to make it all legal, and then they can target your stuff, so you may both bring those stuff back to the battlefield. It's a fair angel, I guess.
I think it's another political card.
Yeah.
You know, if someone's winning in a landslide, you're going to target the other third player who's going to need your help and you need their help to get back into the game. You guys bring your creatures back for each other. You beat the winning guy down.
Right.
Or if it gets down to only 2 players, the ability does say may, so you do have to do it at the end step, but you may choose to just decline it and not do anything.
Right. The next one is the Fiery Confluence. It costs 2 red and 2 for sorcery. And of course, as we know, all the confluence, you may choose the same thing 3 times if you like. The first part of it is deals 1 damage to each creature, or deals 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy target artifact. That's not too bad for the cost. 4 for all that stuff. Wouldn't mind all that stuff. You can destroy up to 3 artifacts for just 4 mana, and do up to 2, 4, 6 damage to each opponent. And the other one, just the 1 damage if that even cares for anything. But I think it's pretty good for what it is.
Yeah. So doing 3 damage to every opponent is kind of like, or every creature is kind of like Anger of the Gods. So you're paying a little bit more for that. But then doing 6 damage to each opponent is costs 1 less than the Breath of Malfagor, which only does 5 damage to each opponent. And then destroying 3 artifacts for 4, I would do that too. You can't really get a comparable card for that.
Yeah. So it's pretty decent for what it is. Next
So
card.
the next card we have is Kalemne's Captain. It's a giant that costs 3 and 2 white, so it does cost 5. It does trigger Kalemne's Experience trigger. This giant soldier is a 5/5 vigilance, and it has a monstrous ability from Theros.
Yes.
It costs 5 and 2 for monstrosity 3. So you're going to put 3 1/1 counters on the Kalemne's Captain, and then when she becomes monstrous, you exile all artifacts and all enchantments.
Ooh, that's nice. Good board wipe for those annoying artifacts and enchantments for all you people who hate those things, because this giant will do the job.
Yeah, you can just play creatures that beat people down. If they're going to mess with swords, if they're going to mess with enchantments that try and mess up combat, you just get rid of it all and you keep battling through it.
And this is what it's feeling like. This whole deck right here is filling up the whole giant tribal type of thing. And a lot of these big creatures don't want to be stopped by these little enchantments and these things that eventually get annoying artifacts and all that. And what better to have that unique card itself that was made for the deck specifically, which I kind of like the giant as well. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all the new stuff for that red and white deck. And if you like it, go and get it when it comes out on November the 13th, along with all the other decks.
Yep.
And I think that's it for that.
Yep. We'll see you next time, Internet.
You take it easy.